Hey Math 10, good to see you. Hopefully you're having a good time doing math remote again. We're working on section 5.4, which is about applications and modeling of linear equations. So the idea here is it's word problems. Yay! They're kind of similar to the word problems from 4.5, which is weird that it's 5.4 now, but they're kind of similar. The difference is that it's not always a fixed cost, it's a positive number or not, but it's going to be kind of the same thing. You're going to have to come up with, you got 2 data points, you got to come up with the equation and possibly solve for more interesting information. So we have some examples here, and they basically show you the different ways you're going to solve for the information you're asked to solve for, and we're always going to be going back to probably your y equals mx plus b, or your point slope form, and that's great. I don't actually have my pen. Like, I have the pen, it's just not working right now. I can't write on the screen, so I'm gonna try to use my finger. I don't know how it's gonna go, so wish me luck. And we'll probably just go over a few examples first, and then I'll try and go see if I can get the pen working. I'll put that much out there so you can see what's going on. So here's an example of water freezing. So if you read the question here in front of us, example 1, it says, hey, turns out at 32 degrees or 0 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius, you have water freezing, and then it boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius. So they're supposed to graph the relation between Celsius and Fahrenheit. So we sort of have the 2 ordered pairs, right? We have 0 and 32, and we have 100 and 212. So good question of whether that should be, which one should be x or y. In this case, it's sort of debatable, but let's decide that x is going to be Celsius. That's what they have done here. The reason why that's helpful is because if x is Celsius, then we have a point that is where x is 0. And you know what happens when x is 0? The y-intercept happens. That's right. If x is 0, then 32 can be our y-intercept. So that's kind of advantageous. So that's what they did. They have that information, and then they use what we call Gerald sometimes, the slope formula, to just calculate what is going to be the slope. So then they can sort of produce this equation here, right? Here's our slope, here's our intercept, and there's our equation using the slope-intercept form. So that's pretty handy, and you can see some of the tools that we're using here, right? We just can know that is the y-intercept just by seeing x is 0, and then whatever y is, and then we use slope formula to find the slope. So it's very much like a 4.5 question. In question 2, and I think this is example 2, I should say. I think this is one where I'll stop the video afterwards. I got a class coming in anyways. I'll do some more with you within the homework once I get the pen working, or my finger will work. But here's another example to go over, and I think it's a worthwhile one. We have some information about, it costs a vendor this amount of money to make this many bags of popcorn, and this amount of money to make that many bags of popcorn, and then they're given these tasks to do. So graph the linear relation. So if you had to graph this, you could literally just plunk down these points on the graph. The cost is probably based on how many bags you make, so you can control how many bags you make. That makes that your x variable. So you can just plunk those on some graph, on a graph. Find the cost equation. So, we have basically, bags of popcorn are x, the cost is y, and you can plug in these points to find your slope. So you can use slope formula, and that's what people are doing right here. That's the first step. They found slope, and then what they did was they used the point slope formula. So they used point slope formula to plug in some numbers for y and x, and then they were able to solve for the equation just by multiplying things out and rearranging it into y equals mx plus b form. So that would be a totally fine way using point slope form. The train of astrotrain, as we were discussing. Another way you could do it is to use y equals mx plus b. Once you know the slope, which is 0.6, then you could plug it in and 2 points in for x and y and solve for b as well. So that would be fine. So that's the way you find the formula. And once you have the formula, you can find the fixed cost. Fine, that's basically the y-intercept. So, we already know that's 400 once we get our equation. So that's our fixed cost, just our intercept. Find the cost of 250 bags of popcorn. It's just a matter of plugging that into your equation. And how many bags of popcorn can be bought for this amount of money. So you plug in this for your y value and solve for x. So that's basically how we're doing these questions. They're all kind of similar along this way. So for homework, we're going to just try some of them out. We'll do like the odds, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and I guess 13 and 15 as well. And I'll try and come back and do some examples once my pen is working, or maybe I'll just try with my finger to do some of these answers, okay? So thanks so much, Math 10. See how it goes without. Maybe that's enough information, but send me some questions as well if that's not enough information. So that's all we're doing for today. Good luck with that and enjoy word problems. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.